Hello students, now we are going to discuss the next category of glycosidyl drugs, that is licorice and diascoria. So, you have studied in last class regarding the cardiac glycoside, and in this class we are going to study about the steroidal glycosides, basically the saponin and the steroidal as well as triterpenoidal glycosides. So, before I move further, I would like to discuss regarding the two different categories of the saponin glycosides, that is tetracyclic saponin glycosides and pentacyclic saponin glycosides. So, tetracyclic saponin glycosides are also known as the steroidal saponins, and the pentacyclic saponins are generally known as tetracyclic triterpenoidal saponins. Here we can see the structure. This is the tetraterpenoidal saponin, and if we number them, we can see that there are 5 cyclic structures which are visible in the triterpenoidal structure. And a very good example here is alpha amyrine, lupiol, which belong to this triterpenoidal category of drugs. Okay? And these basically triterpenoids are very good antioxidants. The second category are the steroidal saponins, which have the steroidal ring. Now, remember that in digitalis also we have a steroidal ring, but there the activity changes due to the lactone ring which was present at the C17th position. Here we have a alkyl chain which you can see here, which is present at the C17th position. So, this is changing the activity of this steroidal saponin. Okay. And in both the structures, this R at the third position, it is showing the presence of the sugars. Okay. So, this is a glycoside, so it has to have certain glycones. So, the glycones are generally attached at the third position of these structures. Now, we have discussed that it is tetracyclic and pentacyclic, but what does this saponin mean? Okay. Saponin term comes from the nature of this particular you can say component to produce soap like foaming, okay, frothing, foaming, that is produced by these saponins. So, that is a common characteristics of both the tetracyclic saponins and pentacyclic saponins. Okay, that is a common characteristic which is found in both the types of saponins. But what are the differences in both the type of saponins? Steroidal saponin have a 4-membered ring where their properties is changing, mainly they have a steroid like activity like the steroids which are present in our body, the corticosteroids. Okay. While triterpenoids, they have a pentacyclic structure, and their structure it is showing antioxidant effects. Okay, their effects are very much free radical scavenger. They have another different type of activities compared to the steroidal saponins. So, this is the basic difference in the two categories. Now, in today's class we are going to study about diascoria in case of the steroidal saponin and licorice in case of the triterpenoidal saponin. So, I will start with licorice first, which is a triterpenoidal saponin. Commonly this licorice, it is also known as mulethi. You must have heard in Hindi it is known as mulethi. In Sanskrit it is known as yashti. In certain books you will find that this drug is given by the name yashti. Okay. So, it can be yashti madhu, yashti, mulethi, these are the common vernacular names of licorice. While in the worldwide market it is commonly known as licorice or glycyrrhiza. Okay. It is also known as glycyrrhiza or radix glycyrrhizae. And I would like to mention here that in today's period, around 1/4 of the world's total herbal market is ruled by licorice. So, you just imagine the importance of this drug. It is used as a edible, you can say food, okay. It is used as a drug, it is used as a cosmetic, it is used as a bioavailability enhancer. There are so many uses of this licorice, because of which it is, you can say, having a very good market in the entire world, and there are many uses of this licorice. Now, what is the biological source of this licorice? So, licorice, it consists of the peeled and unpeeled stolons, roots and stems of Glycyrrhiza glabra belonging to the family Leguminosae. So, it belongs to the family Leguminosae, which is generally found in all the pulses and all. They belong, methi, all these belong to which family? Leguminosae family, and this licorice, it also belongs to the Leguminosae family. So, the biological source is what? Glycyrrhiza glabra, and which part of the drug is used? They are the peeled and unpeeled stolons, roots and stems of this Glycyrrhiza glabra. I would like to mention here that it is available in 3 different varieties. One variety is known as the typica variety. This typica variety is found in Spain, okay. This is also known as the Spanish variety. Then we have the Violacea variety. It is found in Persia, in the Middle East region. We have the Violacea variety, and the third is known as Glandulifera. Glandulifera variety, it is found in mainly Russia, okay, that is the Russian variety. So, we have 3 varieties, the Persian variety, the Spanish variety and the Russian variety of Glycyrrhiza as typica, Violacea and Glandulifera, okay. And they have differences in the chemical constituent also, though not much in the type of the chemical constituent, they are same, but the concentration of the chemical constituents vary, okay. So, we have 3 varieties, variety typica, variety violacea and variety glandulifera, which is the Spanish, Persian and Russian variety respectively. And the geographical source is basically, it is found in China, Europe, India, Iraq and Japan. So, these are the geographical source of the licorice. Now, we move to the cultivation and collection. So, because it is this drug, it is used as a food material. So, it is cultivated at a large scale, and for cultivation we need a specific type of, we can say, environment for the particular growth of this licorice. So, it requires deep, well cultivated, fertile, moisture retentive soil for good root production. So, it should be moisture retentive. It will be moisture retentive, then what will happen? It will imbibe more and more humus in it. It will grow humus, which will imbibe moisture, and it will give good growth to this licorice. Secondly, sometimes sandy soil is added to make it more moisture retentive, and alkaline soil is preferred. The alkaline pH of soil is preferred for the cultivation of licorice. Now, before sowing the seeds, it is very important that these seeds are pre-soaked for 24 hours. You have to pre-soak for 24 hours in warm water, okay. You have to continuously maintain the temperature of the water and keep it soaked in the warm water for 24 hours, after which they are sown in the spring time or in the autumn time in the greenhouse itself. You will not sow it in the fields directly, in the either in the spring time or in the autumn time, when the cambial activity is good. At that time we are going to put it in the greenhouse, and we have to control the temperature, we are going to give a good atmosphere, sunlight, everything, after which the you can say germination takes place. Once it is germinated, it grows very nicely, okay. It is transplanted in the next, you can say, either in the, if it is you have germinating in it autumn, then it will be transplanted into summer, basically spring, and if it is germinating in spring, then it is transplanted in the summer for good growth of the plants. And once it is transplanted, we have to allow the plant to grow nicely, and the harvesting is generally started only after the age of the 4 years is achieved by the tree. Okay, when it becomes 4 years old, after that only we will start the harvesting, which is nothing but we will uproot the entire plant, we will remove the stem, we will remove the roots, and after that sometimes peeling is done, sometimes they are left unpeeled, after which they are dried for a long period of time, so that the moisture is not retained. Otherwise, due to presence of numerous sugars in the root, there can be, you can say, fermentation, and it may break down the glycosides. Now, the characteristics of licorice. So, this licorice root, it is very long, you can see the shape is very cylindrical, it is completely cylindrical in shape, it is not very you can say changing, okay, it is not wavy or folded, okay, it is even, it is completely straight in nature. So, it is long, straight and nearly cylindrical roots are there, okay. Generally, we are talking only of roots because stem are not used that frequently compared to the roots of licorice, though stem is also having the chemical constituents. And normally in market, if you go for purchasing the raw licorice, you will find that it is present in several feet of length, but when we get it for our lab work, generally it is very small, maximum height is around 5 centimeters, okay, and the thickness is 1/4 inch to 1 inch. So, the diameter of this particular root is 1/4 inch to 1 inch, maximum diameter is 2.5 centimeter, and externally it is grayish brown to dark brown. Internally, you can see that it is pale yellow in color. Internally, it has a pale yellow color, externally it is grayish brown to dark brown in color. The taste is sweet and very slightly acrid. So, taste is sweet. Now, here it is very important because saponins generally are considered to be bitter drugs. This is an exceptional drug where we have a sweet taste, okay. That is one of the most, you can say only one exception in saponins, otherwise all the other saponins are very bitter in nature, okay. We normally have to do the bitterness value of these saponins to consider those drugs, you can say for their quality control. But licorice is not bitter, it is sweet and it is very slightly acrid. Acrid means slightly sour type of taste, like we have in honey. The honey taste is somewhat acrid, you know, it is sweet with slightly you have sourness, that is slightly acrid taste. This is the picture of our licorice plant, and as I told you initially that it belongs to the Leguminosae family, okay. So, you can see that the leaves are compound leaves, okay. Compound leaves means the lamina is divided into small leaflets. So, it is a compound leaf with many leaflets, and we have the flowers, you can see very bright prominent purple colored flowers are visualized. The fruits are generally pods, like green peas kind of pods are seen in case of licorice. So, it is very much similar to that of our leguminous plants, whatever pulses and all, they belong to the Leguminosae family. So, this plant, it also appears similar to all those Leguminosae plants. Now, we come to the chemical constituents of licorice. So, the main chemical constituent of licorice is glycyrrhizin, okay. Glycyrrhizin is the main chemical constituent, and this is the chemical constituent which is 50 times sweeter than sucrose. Sucrose is what? The sugar we eat at home, okay. So, this is 50 times sweeter than sucrose, and we saw that the taste is sweet, okay. Saponin, this saponin glycoside has a sweet taste, okay, because of which the root is also tasting very sweet in nature. And this glycyrrhizin is chemically what? Calcium and potassium salt of glycyrrhizic acid, okay. It is not a simple glycoside, it is not just a glycoside, but it is a salt of the glycoside, okay. Please get it correctly. It is a salt of calcium and potassium of glycyrrhizic acid, also known as glycyrrhizinic acid, okay. In many books it is given glycyrrhizinic acid. So, glycyrrhizic acid and glycyrrhizinic acid are the same. So, glycyrrhizin is the calcium and potassium salt of this glycyrrhizic or glycyrrhizinic acid, and this glycyrrhizic or glycyrrhizinic acid, it on hydrolysis gives us glyceratic or glycyrrhetinic acid. Okay? It gives glyceratic or glycyrrhetinic acid, which is the A-glycone of the glycoside. Okay? So, the A-glycone is glyceratic acid and the glycoside is glycyrrhizic acid. Okay. So, the same thing is written that glycyrrhizinic acid, we saw that glycyrrhizinic and glycyrrhizic acid are the same. So, glycyrrhizinic acid is a triterpenoidal saponin glycoside. Other than this, it also contains various chalcone and flavone derivatives. Okay. Flavone, you know, you must remember C6, C3, C6 derivatives are the flavones. Okay. So, we have one compound known as liquiritin and another compound known as isoliquiritin. Okay. So, we have liquiritin and isoliquiritin. Liquiritin is a flavone and isoliquiritin is a chalcone. So, it is, you can say, interconverting into a chalcone. The flavone is getting converted into a chalcone. Both are present in this licorice and they are also responsible for many of the activities of licorice. So, here this is the structure of our glycyrrhizic acid or glycyrrhizinic acid. Okay. And if I remove these sugars, then what will happen? It will become glyceratic acid. Okay. Glyceratic or glycyrrhetinic acid. So, this is the A-glycone and when this is present with potassium or calcium salt, then what will it become? It will become glycyrrhizin. Okay, that is glycyrrhizin. So, this is the main glycoside, which is potassium and calcium salt of glycyrrhizic acid. Glycyrrhizic acid is a glycoside and its A-glycone is known as glyceratic acid. Now, the chemical test. So, here the chemical test is generally done for the flavone glycoside, that is liquiritin, and on addition of 80% of sulfuric acid to the extract of licorice or to the section of licorice, it produces a orange yellow color. Okay. Why this orange yellow color is forming? Because the flavone glycoside liquiritin is getting converted completely to the chalcone glycoside isoliquiritin, producing the bright orange yellow coloration. Now, the main uses of licorice. So, this licorice is mainly, it is used as a sweetening agent in many places. It is used as a dietary material, as a food. Okay. So, it is consumed as a food and as a sweetening agent it is used. So, you know, it is 50 times sweeter than sugar. So, why not to consume it? Because it will reduce the calories. Nowadays, people are more concerned about weight loss. So, why not use this instead of sugar? Okay. Then the main use is on the respiratory system. Okay. So, it cures the bronchial problems or disorders, like it is acting as a catarrh. Catarrh means it is not acting as a catarrh, but it is treating catarrh. Catarrh is when there is a lot of mucus secretion in the upper respiratory tract. Okay. Due to certain infections, certain patients, they continuously have the production of mucus secretion, which you call as bulgum in common language. So, when continuously this mucus is getting produced, that is known as catarrh, and a catarrhal is a drug which cures the catarrh. So, licorice is a catarrhal. Okay. Then it is also used in the treatment of bronchitis, means the infection of the bronchioles. Then it is used in the treatment of cold, flu, coughs and has an expectorant action. So, completely whenever we want to remove the mucus out of the respiratory system, we want the person to be more relaxed, have a good breathing, we can give this licorice. In coronavirus also it has been seen that the Yashti Madhu Vati has been used as one of line of treatment. Okay. So, this is it is a generic kind of drug which is given by many practitioners to treat the respiratory issues. Then it is used in relieving stress. Okay, it reduces the stress. Here I am not talking only about the respiratory stress, but the mental stress also. Okay, the glycyrrhizic acid, it is very well known to reduce the mental stress. In today's time, when people are having many disorders due to the stress of the lifestyle, it acts as a, you can say, relaxant for those stress conditions. It is considered to be a potent healing agent for tuberculosis. Okay, in tuberculosis, the condition happens that the patient becomes suffers from debility. He loses all his organs, means the organs are basically become very weak, they don't work nicely, and gradually the patient becomes more and more malnourished, and because of that he will suffer from many problems. Okay, his problems go on increasing. So here, if this licorice is given, the person will slowly, gradually he will start getting energy in his systems, his organs will start working properly. So it can be a choice of a drug good for affecting this tuberculosis. Then it is also seen that in chronic inflammations like arthritis, the pains in the joint, okay, where the Rh factor increases, in rheumatic diseases, chronic skin conditions like psoriasis, okay, then autoimmune diseases. There are many autoimmune diseases which are being seen nowadays. So here it has been seen that it has a corticosteroid type of activity. Rather than giving corticosteroids like dexamethasone and all, prednisolone, why not to give licorice? It is having a comparative effect and no side effects. Okay, so that is why it can be used in all the autoimmune disorders, psoriasis. Okay, there are many types of diseases, arthritis, gout. Okay, many inflammations occur. So there we can give this drug. Then it is used externally in the treatment of skin problems like herpes, asthma and shingles. So these are the main uses of licorice, and now we move to the second drug, that is the steroidal saponin drug Diascorea. Commonly it is also known as yam, okay, the jimmycan. It looks like jimmycan which people eat, okay, that vegetable, it very much is similar to jimmycan. So the common name is yam, but this yam is slightly different, and the biological source is mainly, it consists of the dried rhizomes of Diascorea, several species, mainly Diascorea deltoida, Diascorea floribunda. There are many other Diascorea species. I have only taken the two main, that is Diascorea deltoida and Diascorea floribunda, belonging to the family Diascoreaceae, and it is mainly found in North America, Mexico. In India, it is found in the Himalayan regions from Kashmir to Punjab at an altitude of 3000 meters, also in Nepal and China. So here you can see, this is the picture of Diascorea. It is a twiner, it is like a you can say climber plant. It is not a tree, it is like a bale, okay, bale bolte na, bale, okay. So it is a climber plant. And what is the cultivation and collection? So it is a perennial climber, means once it grows, it remains there only, and it grows up to a height of 3 meter. The kind of soil required is sandy, loamy or clayey soils, and it should be well drained, means water should not be retained, and it can be cultivated by 3 different methods, either by sowing the seeds, using stem cuttings, or by using the tubercles. In the ripened rhizomes, what happens now, baby tubercles are developed, means baby rhizomes are generated. They are small, you can say dot type of structures which are removed, and these tubercles, okay, these tubercles can be also used for the propagation. Just like in potato we do, we remove the eye of the potato and we can plant it to get a entire new plant. Same way here, in the tubercles can be transplanted to get the new plants, and generally the seeds are sown in March to April in the sunny time in the greenhouse. Okay, it has to be covered initially, and later on they are transplanted in the fields, but they have to have some support so they can grow on those particular support. So we can have fencing, we can have other kind of trees, we can have any kind of, you can say, shades like in grapes and all, you must have seen. So that way we have to have a proper arrangement so that these twiners can grow on those support. Okay. So tubercles, the baby tubers are formed in the leaf axils also in the leaf axils you will find, and they can be used for the transplant, basically the growth or cultivation of this Dioscorea. The harvesting of these rhizomes, it is done in summer or early autumn. Okay, when we see that these yams, they have small pea like structures, okay, green pea means mutter like structures on the basic shape of the rhizome, it is matured for harvesting. So, at that point of time we will harvest the basically the rhizomes. The color of these tubers when they are collected, it can be like this also, the shape can be like this also, it can be oval also. Okay. So, the color of this tuber, it is slightly brown in color, odorless with a bitter taste, and the size varies as well as the shape also varies. Like you can have this kind of shape, or you can have a circular or subglobular kind of shape. And the stem is smooth green twiner, as I showed you in the picture already, it is a smooth green twiner. The leaves are having a symmetric base. Okay, the leaf is something like this, the base is symmetric, means they join at the same point. Okay, the base, it is heart shape. Okay, this is heart shape, and it is gradually tapering to have a sharp and acuminate apex. Okay, and it is petiolate in nature, means it is having a petiole. Okay. The main chemical constituent, so diosgenin, it is the A glycone. Remember genin is used when we are having A glycones. So, diosgenin is a glycone, okay, which is present in the yam or this Dioscorea in the form of diosin also it exists. Diosin is the glycoside and its A glycone is diosgenin. So, about 4 to 6% of diosgenin is present, and it is a steroidal sapogenin because it has the 4 steroidal rings joined together. This is a steroidal ring. And also there are certain other A glycones like smilagenin, epismilagenin, and various isomers of yamogenin. Okay. Other than that, there is an enzyme named sapogenase. Okay. There are various phenolic compounds and starch which have been reported. Now, the most important thing here is this steroidal ring, which is important for its activity. This third position is responsible for the glycosidic linkage. The main uses of diosgenin. So, the main uses of diosgenin is that it is used as a source of diosgenin. This is the use of Dioscorea. Okay. So, diosgenin, because it is having the steroidal ring, this steroidal ring is present in our body in many places, like in the form of corticosteroids, in the form of pregnenolone derivatives like progesterone, testosterone derivatives, estrogen derivatives. So, you can understand that in many places in our body we are using this steroidal ring. Okay. And many of the drugs, for example, the contraceptive drugs, okay, then there are certain other drugs which are produced, which are having this corticosteroidal structure like betamethasone, prednisolone, dexamethasone, all have this steroidal ring in their structure. So, for the manufacture of such steroidal ring, what is the precursor? The precursor is diosgenin. Okay. So, the precursor of all this is diosgenin, because of which it is considered to be one of the most important drug for all the drugs like synthesis of progesterone, other steroidal drugs, okay, then various reproductive hormones which are important, all these are synthesized from diosgenin. And one traditional use is that it is used in the treatment of asthma as well as in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. So, these are the main uses of diosgenin. Rather than getting the steroidal ring from any animal source, why can't we get this from a plant source? So, that is why it is cultivated at a large scale, so that we can have enough of this diosgenin for synthesis of different types of steroidal drugs. So, this is about the Dioscorea. So, with this we end both the steroidal saponin drugs, that is Licorice and Dioscorea. Thank you.